The dog threw himself in front of the door seconds before disaster and saved a life. Have you ever stopped to think about how many times your pet has done something inexplicable? That moment when they simply act in a way that defies all logic. Well, get ready, because the story I'm about to tell you today will completely change the way you see your pet. But before I start, do me a favor. If you love your pet, hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications, because stories like this you won't want to miss. Trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to have tears in your eyes. The day that started like any other. It was an ordinary Tuesday. Sarah, a 34-year-old teacher, was getting ready for another day of work. Coffee brewing, toast on the table, and Max, her 7-year-old golden retriever, doing exactly what he always did, following her around the house like a furry, loving shadow. Max wasn't just any dog. Since he was a puppy, he had this special connection with Sarah. You know those pets that seem to understand your every emotion? That know when you're sad before you even realize it? Well, Max was exactly like that. But that morning, something was different. The first signs. Sarah noticed that Max was agitated, more agitated than normal. He was pacing back and forth, panting, restless. She thought maybe he needed to go outside to do his business, so she opened the back door. But Max didn't go out. He just stood there staring at her with those deep brown eyes. And then, the barking started. These weren't normal barks. It was something urgent, desperate. Max would run to the front door, come back, bark, and repeat it all over again. Sarah, already running late for work, tried to calm him down. "Max, what's wrong, boy? Everything's okay." But Max wouldn't calm down. And this is where the story gets chilling. If you're enjoying this so far, hit that like button and share it with someone who also loves dogs. Because what comes next, well, you need to see it to believe it. The decisive moment. Sarah finally gave in. She grabbed the leash, thinking maybe a quick walk would calm Max down. But when she approached the front door, Max did something she had never seen before. He threw himself, literally threw himself in front of the door, and wouldn't move. Sarah tried to push him gently. "Max, move, sweetie, we need to go." But the dog was planted there like a rock, 70 pounds of golden retriever determined not to let his owner pass. And that's when Sarah heard it. A strange sound, like a metallic groan, coming from above. She looked at the ceiling, confused. And then within seconds, it happened. The disaster. A deafening crash. The giant chandelier in the entryway, that heavy antique chandelier that had been in the house since before she bought the property, came crashing down exactly where she would have been standing if she had managed to get past Max. Glass shattered, twisted metal covered the entryway floor. The noise was so loud that neighbors came out of their houses to see what had happened. Sarah stood frozen, staring at the destruction. Her heart was beating so hard she could hear it in her ears. Her legs were shaking. She slowly turned to Max, who was now sitting down, wagging his tail, as if to say, "See, I tried to warn you." Pause here for a second. Can you imagine? If it weren't for Max, Sarah wouldn't be here to tell this story. And there's more. The story doesn't end here. Stay with me until the end, because what doctors discovered afterward will impress you even more. The investigation. After the dust settled, literally, Sarah called an engineer to inspect the house. What he discovered was frightening. The chandelier support had been compromised for months. A combination of humidity, old structure, and lack of maintenance had weakened the bolts holding it to the ceiling. It was a matter of time before it fell. But here's the part no one can explain. How did Max know?
Dogs don't understand structural engineering. They can't see rusty bolts hidden in the ceiling. So how did he know that was the exact moment? How did he know his owner was in danger? The science behind instinct. Researchers who study animal behavior have some theories. Dogs have senses that are absurdly more acute than ours. They can hear frequencies that are inaudible to us. They can feel minimal vibrations. They can detect subtle changes in the environment that go completely unnoticed by humans. It's possible that Max heard the metal giving way, that he felt vibrations in the floor, that he noticed something Sarah could never notice. But you know what's more incredible? The scientific explanation doesn't matter. What matters is that Max acted. He didn't hesitate, didn't think twice, put his own body between his owner and danger. And that, my friends, is unconditional love. If you also have a pet that has saved you in a big or small way, leave it here in the comments. I want to read every story. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Other incredible stories. Max's story isn't unique. Around the world, there are thousands of reports of pets who saved their owners. There's the story of Fridge, a dog in Australia who woke up his family in the middle of the night because he smelled smoke. A fire was starting in the kitchen. There's the story of Pudding, a cat in the United States who jumped on her owner's chest repeatedly until she woke her up during a diabetic attack. There's the story of Khan, a Doberman who threw a baby away from a venomous snake and was bitten in the process, but survived. These animals aren't trained for this. They simply know. They feel that deep connection with their human families and act without fear, without thinking about their own well-being. Sarah's transformation. After the incident, Sarah's life completely changed. She looks at Max differently now. Not that she didn't love him before. She always loved him. But now there's a deep gratitude, an awareness that every day with him is a gift. She started paying more attention to the signs Max gives. When he gets restless, she doesn't ignore it. When he barks strangely, she investigates. Because she learned that our pets communicate with us constantly. We're just not always listening. Sarah also became an advocate for shelter animals. Max was rescued as a puppy, abandoned in a cardboard box in the rain. She always knew she had saved Max that day. But now she realizes they saved each other. The connection that can't be explained. There's something deeply special about the relationship between humans and their pets. Something that goes beyond science, logic, reason. It's a soul-to-soul connection. How many times have you come home devastated and your pet just knew? How many times have you cried and they stayed right there in silence just by your side? How many times have you felt alone but looked into those eyes full of unconditional love and realized you were never really alone? Our pets choose us every day. They love us at our worst moments. They forgive us instantly. They protect us without expecting anything in return. And stories like Max's remind us why they are true members of our family. If this story moved you, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more incredible stories about pets. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. Conclusion. What about you? Now I want to hear from you. Has your pet ever done something that surprised you? Have they ever saved you in some way, big or small? Maybe they alerted you to something. Maybe they were simply there when you needed them most. Leave it here in the comments. I read them all, I promise, and I love hearing these stories. Because at the end of the day, stories like Max and Sarah's remind us of something fundamental. Our pets aren't just animals. They are silent heroes, four-legged guardians, furry angels who enter our lives and transform them forever. Max continues to be the loving golden retriever he's always been. Still follows Sarah around the house, still steals socks, still begs for treats at the dinner table. But now he's also the dog who saved a life. And Sarah, well, she'll never look at that front door the same way again. For her, that space will always be a reminder that sometimes, just sometimes, our pets know more than we think they know, and that we should always, always trust them. Thank you for watching until the end. Hit that like button, share with friends, and tell your story in the comments. See you in the next video.